Your entire team's Git sent just staged everything, including env and API keys, because duplicate aliases overwrite silently and the last one wins. Let's break down Git Config and aliases. Customize your Git experience, how it works, and the exact mistake behind that failure. Git Config is like a settings menu where you customize how Git behaves. Git aliases let you create keyboard shortcuts for your most used commands. For example, Git Config global alias go checkout means instead of typing git checkout, you type git co. It's like creating text shortcuts on your phone. The most productive aliases reduce common 5-word commands to 2-3 characters. For example, git co main instead of git checkout main, git sent instead of git status, and git lg for a pretty log output. But aliases come with a trap. If you share aliases, different developers may have different interpretations. Here's how to set the essential aliases. Run these commands in your terminal. You can view all your aliases with git config global getregexp alias. And remember, you have 3 config levels: system for all users, global for your account, and local for the current repo. You can also create aliases that run shell commands by prefixing the value with, for example, git config global alias remote. Git remote vhead shows only the first 5 lines of remote URLs. Or git config global alias cleanup. Git branch merged grep v zargs git branch d to delete merged branches. Keep your personal aliases in the global config file. Use local config for project-specific aliases, like a monorepo with custom commands. Never commit a git config to the repo that auto-overwrites developer settings. Instead, document suggested aliases in contributing, MD, and let developers opt in. This is the same issue we highlighted at the start. Here's exactly why that happened. A team maintained a shared git config file committed to the repository. Developer A added sent equals status. Later, developer B added sent equals add, thinking nobody was using sent for status. The second alias overwrote the first because duplicate aliases silently overwrite, the last one wins. Duplicate aliases silently overwrite, the last one wins. Developer B's sent equals add replaced sent equals status, causing git sent to stage all files. The fix was immediate. Remove the conflicting alias from the shared config file. Each developer ran git config global unset alias, sent to clear their local alias. Then they set up an alias review process. Any new alias must be discussed in the team channel. They also added a CI check that warns if a shared git config has duplicate aliases. The mistake was assuming aliases are additive. They are not. The last one set wins. If you set the same alias twice, the second overwrites the first. This is why sharing a config file without coordination can lead to unexpected behavior. When using to run shell commands, be aware that the alias runs in the repo root, not the current directory. Use cd git prefix and end to preserve the working directory. This is a common source of confusion for aliases like cleanup that operate on branches. Git aliases can accept arguments using $1, $2, etc., but only if the alias is a shell command, prefixed with. This enables parameterized shortcuts like git unstage file. The global config file is at /. Git config on Linux, Mac OS, and %userprofile %big/ git config on Windows. For system-level config, the file is path/ etc/ git config Linux or C \program data \git \config Windows. Knowing the exact path helps when manually editing or backing up aliases. To debug alias issues, first check what an alias expands to with git config global get alias sent. List all aliases with git config global getregexp alias. To remove a problematic alias, use git config global unset alias sent. And to see which config file a setting comes from, use git config list show origin. Let's run through some common interview questions. What are the 3 git config levels? System, all users, global your account, local current repo. How do you create a git alias? Git config global alias, name command. What happens if you set the same alias twice? The second overwrites the first silently. And a few frequently asked questions. Can I use shell commands in aliases? Yes, prefix the value with, how do I see all my aliases? Run git config global getregexp alias. Should I share my git config with my team? No, document aliases in contributing, MD instead. To wrap up, Git aliases are a huge productivity boost, reducing common commands to just a few characters. Set them with git config global alias, name, command. Use local config for project-specific aliases and global for your personal shortcuts. And remember, never share a git config file, document aliases in your project's contributing guide instead. Ready to go deeper? Up next, Git Diff. Spot changes before they become incidents, then Git log. Master commit history search and filtering, then Git push. Safe publishing and force push recovery. Find them all at TheCodeForge.io. Thanks for watching. The full article and code examples are covered in detail at TheCodeForge.io.